Hey guys, Dr. Mo here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a special guest who's going to talk to us about incarceration pre and post. Can you please, by all means, introduce yourself?
My name is Preston. Everybody calls me PT.
You were incarcerated for a period of time.
Yes. I was incarcerated for 5.5 years. The charge was possession with intent to distribute cocaine.
Would you say that were you at a minimum security or medium or high security?
I was at minimum security facilities at Marion, Illinois, Manchester, Kentucky, and Maxwell Air Force Base.
And you say you were convicted of
possession with intent to distribute cocaine.
Right. And your sentence, so you served a total of 5.5 years.
Yeah, well, 76 months.
76 months.
The federal government, the feds sentence you in months instead of years.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you're trying to figure out how many years it is when you get sentenced.
Okay. And was that the first time you were incarcerated?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd been arrested before, but never sentenced to prison.
So you had previous arrests, but never a sentence.
Yes.
Can you remember the first day that you arrived on the prison ground?
Yes, I had a friend. I self-surrendered to Marion, and when I pulled up, Marion, the camp was what they called it. It was right across from Marion Penitentiary, which is the Supermax, the highest level penitentiary in this country. And so I saw gun towers and razor wire. So I thought that they sent me to the wrong place. So I had to speak in this little box and say I was supposed to go to the camp, and it was right across the street. So we were the workforce for the penitentiary because the inmates there were locked down 24/7.
Do you remember the living conditions?
Living conditions were nothing fancy, bunk beds. Food was so-so. Sometimes we ate those, what they call MREs, meal ready to eat. I told somebody we was eating ham and eggs from the 1950s. The most precious commodity to eat with, to eat is fried chicken. It was almost fights over fried chicken in prison.
Wow. What were your emotions?
When I first got there, I felt like I slept a lot because I didn't understand it. I wondered why I was so tired. I thought they were putting something in the food. And the reality was I was dealing with depression. I would look up at the ceiling and I said, this is not my ceiling, And then it got to the point I had to accept that, for right now, this is my ceiling.
Mm-hmm. Did you see other people experiencing depression also?
Yes, everybody. A lot of guys that dealt with it when you first come in. Some guys who have done a lot of time, done time before me or got transferred from other institutions. They were more acclimated, I guess you could call it. But when you first come in, you don't know. I tell people try to tell you who've never been there, tell you how to do time. But nobody talks to you about how to be free.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing I had to learn while I was there. I learned how to prepare to come back home.
Would you say that they prepared you, they gave you activities and access to resources that would help you adapt to being free again?
To a very limited extent. I think most of society think that you go to prison to be rehabilitated. There's no rehabilitation in prison, only self-rehabilitation. You have to take the initiative to do all you can to get ready to get out to be productive. I tried to learn everything I could while I was in prison. When I was in Marion, I had a little money to try to take some correspondence courses from Indiana University by mail, and they called me in the office. I thought I was trying to run some kind of scam. There were other inmates that taught different things in prison. I learned how to write a business plan in prison. I learned about stocks and options in prison. Let's see. I was part of the inmate activity organization. We did a lot of things we were given the permission to do things to be enrichment to other inmates at the facility when I was in Kentucky.
Were you given adequate health care, access to mental health services when you were going through depression?
No,
None at all.
no, because one, it wasn't available. Two, at that point in my life, I didn't know what to ask for.
Mhm.
You know,
What were some of the things that you encountered or you experienced or you saw while there that negatively impacted your mental health?
uh, I saw a guy get sent back to court, and he knew he was going to lose and do a lot more time for a previous offense. Um, me and another guy kept the guy from killing the guy. The thing about even in a minimum security place, anything can happen. It does not matter what level of security that you are in a prison institution. Um, I've seen, you see fights and stuff, and you see people try to, diffuse situations. Some successful, some unsuccessful.
How have you stayed healthy after being released?
Uh, I had to, I built me a network. I had friends that I knew that I kept in touch with a few people. I was in a halfway house when I first got out. A friend of mine helped me get my first job. I actually got an associate's degree in dental laboratory technology when I was in prison. Well, I finished it after I got out, but I got a job working in a dental laboratory. But it was still kind of overwhelming when I first got out. I went to a store one time, and I'm used to buying, when you're in prison, sometimes you'll have a commissary where you just order what you can afford to buy on a piece of paper, and you give it to the guy. If you got money, you get it. I went to a grocery store, and I saw a whole wall of bread.
When I came back.
And after I got back, and I was overwhelmed. I actually had an anxiety attack. I had to leave. There are times you're doing all the things that you're supposed to do once you get out, and you can feel overwhelmed. You can feel like you're losing your mind. I did not have the resources to seek some counseling, somebody to talk to. But I was blessed to have some friends. I was blessed to have a church family that accepted me as I am. I went back to the church where I grew up at, where I was baptized at when I was 11 years old. That helped rebuild my foundation.
What would you say to those that are possibly on their way to prison because they have a pending charge, or they're waiting for sentencing, or those that know someone that's actually going? How would you speak to that person so that they can endure what's before them?
Be close to your family, because one thing, you don't do time by yourself. I used to think that. Your family, your loved ones they're doing time with you. They're not in there with you, but emotionally, they're doing time. Sometimes financially. I would say don't go in with the attitude like you're going to be the baddest guy in the world or anything like that. You be yourself. That's the only thing I did. I didn't go for bad. I watched who I was around. Don't try to gravitate to one group or another. My relationship with God was a key to how I carry myself. If you are your own person, the things that are good and bad, things going to gravitate to you because people are going to check you out. You have to make the choice what you're going to go with. That comes from doing right or wrong, because you can do almost anything in prison that you can do out here on the street. But you can prepare to come back home. And that's what I did. That's what I think is the most important. You got to prepare to come back home. Because if you don't, you're preparing to come back. When I got out of prison, the recidivism rate, which is the rate of people going back, was about 90%. So I got out in 1990, so you can say I beat the odds. But it was because of preparation. Um, when I came out, I had 4 years of probation and never had any problems. You know, I was frustrated at times. There was times when I didn't. I was asked to come in and I didn't have money to put in the meter to park my car. And the lady was wondering what was going on, and I just explained to her. I was blunt with her about it, and she kind of understood. But it is not easy. And prison is a business. Prison is designed for you to come back. There's no business on this earth designed for one-time customer. And you're going to prison, you can either be a customer or victim, or you can be somebody that learns something and prepares to come back home, never to return. The only time I've been back to prison is for prison ministry projects, for empowerment projects, to do things like I'm doing right now, talking to someone who may be facing this. It's rough. It's rough mentally. You have to get as prepared as you can, because you're going into the unknown. You don't know what facility, what level of facility you're going to, the environment in that facility. Some places are okay, what we used to call sweet, and then there's other places that they call them gladiator schools. But you don't know where you're going to end up.
What would you tell the young PT to keep or prevent him from going to prison?
Keep your own mind. Don't be a crowd pleaser. Be secure in yourself and who you are. Value yourself better than the PT right now did at that time. Because you don't have to fit in. You can be a person that people gravitate to because you're doing something positive. You know, I look at some of the choices I made. You know, sometimes misery loves company, even though those persons may not think they're in misery. Mm-hmm. You know, they're doing bad. They think they're the guys that's got it going on. Even nowadays with young adults now, peer pressure is probably unimaginable when you really think about it. And so they have to keep a strong mind. Mm-hmm. I say that any of the young guys, if they're going in, you got to keep yourself together, because they're going to pull at you.
All right. What are you doing now that you've been released and you're an active, law-abiding citizen?
My circle has changed. As you change as a person, I work with a faith-based program. It's a nonprofit called Welcome Home Ministries. I'm a peer support case manager. I've also served as a operations director for 2 drug and alcohol treatment centers in Texas, and had a chance to impact a lot of lives there, and also learn how to build a team of people that I employed to work together to help the clients to come into our facility. I'm a member of the National Association of Peer Supporters, a member of a program called WRAP, Wellness Recovery Action Plan. It's an evidence-based practice that helps people make wise decisions and make healthy changes in their lives. And it's been a blessing to do what I do to help others.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right.